That's this a little bit. There
Yeah,
we go.
yeah, much better. Yeah, a little bit better. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whoop. Yeah, it went back. But anyway, it's fine.
I'll get it.
And so everybody we might be on LinkedIn already, everybody. If you're just tuning into us, hello and happy Wednesday. And in North Carolina, where we are, it is beautiful. How about you, Catherine?
Oh, it is so pretty. That is why I am sitting on my porch today. It is a very comfortable place to work. As you can see, a little bit of breeze in the background. The humidity is low. The temperatures are comfortable. It is idyllic.
Well, hooray. And we hope you're having a good Wednesday wherever you are in the world and in the country. And hope that we understand that false fall is happening on the East Coast, and we're happy to receive it. And if you
Yes.
are here, we'd love to hear in the chat box to say hello. We're streaming on LinkedIn Live, and we have an important topic to talk about today that I think can be somewhat controversial. You know,
Mhm.
the whole idea of our fundraising or fundraisers and major gift officers working to meet the metrics, or are they working to close gifts and work with the right donors? What do you think, Catherine?
Well, that is the question of the day, Gail. And I was, actually, it's a little bit of both, but this is where, and we see this a lot with our clients that are we're working with to help build major gift programs, execute campaigns, which again, campaigns, you have to have a major gift in order to have a campaign successfully. And so we see this a lot of things here. We see uncertainty around which metrics are the most important. Sometimes we get an over reliance on what we would might call activity metrics, Gail, versus revenue metrics. You actually need both, but some people get more into counting calls and counting contacts with donors. And here's another thing that gets really confusing, Gail, about the contacts. So now I'm just going to date Gail and myself for just a minute here.
We've been around a
Uh,
long time, everybody.
yeah.
So
So
since
Gail and I came of age in major gift fund, actually when we were practitioners in major gift fundraising, when the only thing that counted was a face-to-face meeting with a donor.
that's right.
There's no, email didn't count, texting didn't count.
We barely had email when you and I started.
Texting hadn't occurred yet, but anyway, and we had that's the only thing that counted. So nowadays, we sit with our clients and they're talking to their donors, they text them, email them, connect to them. There's a zillion apps you can connect to people with today. Anyway, lots of ways that donors want to communicate. And then the question comes is we really have struggle with, is that contact meaningful or not? Is
Mhm.
it a reflection of what actually is happening in the relationship with the donor that's moving toward a gift commitment? Or is it just, making an appointment or just touching base or just whatever it is? And so this creates a significant amount of confusion.
Yes, yes. And the problem is that when a fundraiser is working to meet those monthly goals, man, you're going to meet them because you want to show up and check all the boxes, like so many visits, so many contacts, all these different things. Are you really making any progress raising
Right.
money? And Catherine, one thing you talk a lot about is the whole idea of somebody having their favorite donor who will always have coffee with them. And so
Yeah.
you have that coffee with that donor and you can check that off. It doesn't matter that you see the donor every month so that you can
Right.
get one of those points on your metrics.
Yeah. And all of us and Gail, myself, all of
Well
our
done.
consulting team, all of us have been major gift officers, worked in the space, and all of us have done that where, it's really easy to see that favorite donor or the one every time, or will call you to say they want to have coffee or lunch or whatever. I had one that I used to call me to say, could you drive me to my attorney's office? Of course, she was a very major donor. So yes, I did. But
A lot of personal service from Catherine.
well, yeah, I was good at that with some people, not everybody, but nonetheless, that is a struggle for, it's easy to get, you can say, oh, okay, I met my contact quota of say, um, 50 people in a month or 20 people, whatever the number is, some number, and you did it, but you only saw 3 donors.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. So
That's a little
everybody,
problematic.
so you can have your fundraisers chasing numbers or actually building true relationships with donors. And that is the dilemma And that is the challenge. And we see it in just about every client that we work with, don't we, Catherine?
We do, we do. And another thing we see also, especially with our clients who are just beginning to really build out metrics for major gifts, is getting overcomplicated
Uh-huh.
and either trying to collect too much activity metrics and data points and or not enough, but usually it's too much, and usually it's making it so complicated, and sometimes that's driven by the whatever particular database that they're using, and they're trying to pigeonhole what they want to do, and the database is creating too much complication. They're not sure how to skip over fields and
Right.
whatever in order to be able to customize it. But nonetheless, so we see this over complication, and then that kind of drags the gift officer down because they're trying to collect and and fill in all their metrics that they've occurred, but it's too much. So there's an
Uh-huh.
opportunity cost in that.
So you are seeing people overcomplicate the metrics?
Yes, we see some that, especially early days when they're starting out
Mhm.
in building major gift program, that there's a tendency across the board to overcomplicate the metrics. So that's a challenge and a pain point, because then you get into that and you're like, well, now you get a little down the road on that. And it's like, well, how in the world do we report on that? or how do we use the metrics that we're, collecting? And then there's some confusion, and it's all working with us. We get it straight with people, but
Yeah,
nonetheless, we see that temptation
we do.
almost every time.
And so it seems like so many fundraising teams are being judged and evaluated
Mhm.
activity counts instead of meaningful donor engagement. Like that is almost like a quiet crisis in
Mhm.
every major gift shop, including all of our clients around the country that we're working with.
Mhm.
And the whole idea of gaming the metrics, a common metric might be 15 visits a month, donor visits a month. It might be 5 new prospects added per week or month or whatever. Maybe one solicitation every month or quarter, it depends on what's expected. What do you think about what are the right kind of metrics, Catherine?
Yeah, it will vary. Well, first of all, the key ones, it is about meaningful contacts. You do need to kind of measure that activity and progress with the donor relationship. But no, you don't need to count every time you left a phone message or sent an email that's just asking for, something quick. If those can be meaningful, but not necessarily, usually they're not. So you really need to, I would say it this way, if it's a contact you're making with a donor for which you have set an objective and you have a plan for that conversation, then that is going to be a meaningful contact.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right, because every meeting with the donor needs to have an objective
Yes.
and probably
Yes.
multiple objectives.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. Yeah.
I want to talk
Yes.
a little bit about why metrics can be misleading,
Mhm.
especially to leadership. We see so many fundraising teams who are managed by people who do not understand fundraising, and particularly major gift fundraising. And so metrics can make leaders feel like there's progress.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, and but the tragedy is that time is wasted on the wrong donors because
Absolutely.
you're not really being
Mhm.
deliberate, and that pressure leads fundraisers to chase low potential prospects instead
Yes.
of nurturing true major donor relationships. When I was at Duke, I started my fundraising career at Duke, and Duke was way back in the dark ages of fundraising. Duke was like a machine, and my mentor, whom Catherine, or my mentor at Duke was a little bit crass. So I'm just going to warn everybody that this is slightly crass, but he said that if we're spending a lot of time with a donor or donor couple, talking intensely about what they want to do to invest in Duke University and getting them ready to decide to make the gift, he would say, we're all over them. We are all over this couple. But then he would say, if we're really tight and we're really going to get that gift, next week, we're in bed with them. But I mean, the metaphor can be a little awkward, but the concept means that everybody can laugh. I told you it was crass. Okay, that was my disclaimer. I love doing these with you, Catherine. We
I
have
know, it's so much fun.
I'm going
Yeah,
to
we're
consult us, they have to get all organized and have their talking points, and Catherine and I can just wing it. But that's just, we've been around so long, we can do this, everybody. We have been around.
but you know what? The first three letters in the word fundraising are FUN, fun. I mean, seriously, you've got to have some fun with this.
We hope if you're not having fun watching us or not having fun at your work, that you can find a way to have some fun.
Yes, very important.
But the point I'm trying to make with my my mentor's story is that you need to have freedom from the metrics to be all over a donor or a donor couple if this is the right time to spend concentrated time on them.
Yes. Yes, you have to stay focused on, again, I love to think in terms of objectives.
Yeah.
Obviously, your key objective is to get to gift commitment, but there's a process to get there. So sometimes in what that's another thing, sometimes being really hyper focused on metrics is you just get focused on the gift. You may ask too soon, ask at the wrong time, don't have permission to ask, which is a really common one.
Right.
Really
You
don't
have
have,
to meet the metrics to ask. How
right.
many asks? Oh,
Yeah.
that probably could be maybe the worst
Hmm.
fallout of all from
Hmm.
this whole situation with metrics, because if you ask a donor before they're ready, what happens?
Hmm. And that's one of the pain points I think, Gail, you and Chuck talked about like a week or two ago. And
Yeah.
that is, and there is, you know, and I will say to everybody here through all these pain point series, if you haven't watched them and go back and look at them, they all connect to each other.
Mhm.
They, you know, so asking too soon can be driven by a lot of things, but one of them is like, I'm trying to meet these metrics I have to have so many solicitations, so many dollars raised, and yada, yada. And I'm just getting in a panic, you know, because I've got this year in goal and I'm, you know, freaking out because I'm
Right.
not sure I want to make it. And then what's going to happen, you know? So that is, you know, so I'm just going to go out and ask everybody, you know, and just, it's like,
That is you're shooting yourself in the foot like crazy.
totally kiss of death.
My sponsor. Hey, Catherine, let's have a word from the sponsor now.
Oh, I love the word from the sponsor.
Well, everybody, because we are doing 10 pain points of major gift fundraising the month of August. We have been on LinkedIn Live every Wednesday in August. And why are we doing this? We're doing this to encourage you and your team to sign up for the Major Gift Officer Boot Camp. Because tell everybody, you're putting together the curriculum, Catherine, and you sent me the first deck today.
Yes, I did. I'm so excited about this first deck. I'm not going to tell the whole content of this first deck, but let me give you kind of the arc of the program, if you will.
Yeah.
So one of these things is we're going to start out with like what are really the core skills and core focus that you need to really have to be a top notch, first flight, A plus major gift officer. What are those? And those skills and those what you need kind of arc through the entire course. So we focus on different ones at different times. We remind you what they all are. We show you how they work together to get you where you need to be, and work through like what is it you really need to know about the donor. Oh, here's a real pain point that I don't think we've ever talked on, but it fits with metrics here, and that's qualifying. People
Yes.
are real stuck on qualification. So we're going to talk about how to be appropriately cold and ruthless at certain points in time, and to be how to be the warm, fuzzy, and nurturing major gift officer that leads the donor to gift commitment, transformational gift commitment.
Yes. And tell everybody what is the objective of the Major Gift Boot Camp?
The
What is
objective of the major boot, again, the real objective, like I'm kind of hinting at here, is really to support your journey in becoming the best major gift officer you could possibly be. That's our objective. That is, oh, so I jiggle my table there. Our
excited
objective
everybody?
always, I will say this, our objective always as a company, and whether you're a client or joining our boot camp or any other thing you join with us, is to see that you leave our time together better than when you showed up.
Absolutely.
And that's always our objective. And so we are always working hard, one, meet you where you are, help you get better, whatever that skill is that that you take away that you are able to employ to make yourself better. That's your work. That is our objective.
Absolutely. And the Major Gift Officer Boot Camp registration ends next Tuesday, a week from yesterday. And the program starts September the 11th. And we have got a wonderful crowd
Mhm.
attending this year, and it runs all the way through December 3rd. This is going to be live major gift training,
Mhm.
private group coaching calls. And so
Mhm.
you can bring your issues and questions to our team of consultants, and they'll help you with them.
Yeah.
Hooray,
I
hooray.
think that's what's really exciting too, Gail, is that we are actually employing our team of consultants for this program. So you're going to hear from people in this case who, as all our team has been, have been practitioners, have sat in your chair, have the war stories and scars and all the things, and they've been through this. And so one thing we will be able to do is help shortcut. You don't have to figure it out what it is to do to get better. We will help you be better. And so it's a shortcut to help you achieve your objectives and your goals more quickly by joining our program.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's go back to our content about metrics. We want everybody to take a good look at the Major Gift Officer Bootcamp, and it may not be right for you, but if it is for you and your team, let us know, and we'd love to work with you because this is going to be state of the art, fresh content, and live. But anyway, let's talk more about metric because I want to talk a little bit about the downside when fundraisers are chasing the metrics because leadership has set up these metrics because they don't know how to manage fundraisers. But here's the
True.
downside. We'll tackle that one some other time. Maybe we should do a series on how to manage and lead a major gift program. Catherine, wouldn't
Well,
that?
we probably should do a series, and I will go say this on the course where we do have we do have some all along through the course. There will be helpful hints and strategies to manage up. So, in order
I'll
to
learn how to
manage your
manage that.
leadership. Mhm.
The
Yep.
downside of focusing on metrics, lots of times you're running from donor to donor.
Mhm.
And so the engagement feels shallow as opposed to deeper. And so that means less engaged donors and maybe less trusting donors because you're not really able to follow that momentum. And
Mhm.
also, what do you think, Catherine, about the idea that staff morale suffers when they do hit activity quotas, but they don't hit the revenue goals?
It's a lot of morale when there's high levels of activity and low levels of return, put it that way. Then we have increased risk
Mhm.
for your gift officers and for your program because the risk is higher because you're not the dollars are not coming, and satisfaction and job satisfaction is diminished,
Mhm.
and that does not lead to a happy team, and
No.
it does not lead to happy gift officers, and you want your gift officers happy. Happy gift officers are more productive gift officers. But here's the thing about leadership, and this includes whether it's development leaders or organizational leaders like CEO and CFOs. There's a whole chapter on them, and that is that they are not understanding why the team is not productive. They're saying we have these metrics and we're doing this, but why are we not productive? And they don't know how to do that.
Mhm.
I know one client that I'm working with on one of our consulting clients, and we do this with most of our consulting clients, is work with the CEO. We
Yeah.
offer a lot of help in helping CEO help what is my role in managing and also supporting productivity of my development operation. And
Yes.
so helping them, yeah, we try to help them understand what metrics they need to understand. It's not all of them, and what questions do the metrics lead you to ask? That's the key thing about this. It's a lot of times people sit around trying to interpret the metrics like, oh, this means that, and they don't got a clue, and they don't know how to use the metrics in the development major gift metrics to ask the right questions that are both supportive to the team and helpful in finding out where the challenges and problems are so you can help mitigate those.
Mhm.
That's really important. A lot of people do not know how to do. That's another pain point. They don't know what to do with the metrics.
Yeah, and I think that when you have staff morale that is
Mhm.
declining because they're not meeting revenue goals, then leadership gets frustrated and
Everybody's
begins
frustrated.
asking, why aren't we closing more gifts?
Yeah.
And we could almost blame it on the metrics that leadership has set up.
Yeah.
You
and
know,
and it's like, yeah, it's because they're key, and to allow the gift officers to focus. And again, this is something teaching the course, what are the right questions and what is the right conversation gift officers need to have to understand where their donors are so they can position them properly in their list or portfolio, whichever way you're managing it, in order to be, saying this is when the commitments will occur. I mean, fundraising is very predictable. Even major gift fundraising is predictable. And if you're not using your metrics correctly or don't have the right ones, the real point of metrics is to begin to put together ability to predict what's going to happen.
Catherine, one thing you've always said that in terms of we have to have the activity in front of the donors if we're going to raise money.
Right.
Okay. Everybody, we are not against metrics. You
Right. No,
you
not
must
at
make
all.
the donor calls, but you must be working on the right donors in the right way. And
Mhm.
so one of the things that you can do is measure the number of donors who are moving forward in the
Yes.
relationship cycle.
Mhm.
One of the things you say, Catherine, a lot when we talk about moves management is
Mhm.
that who is doing the moving?
Okay.
The donor needs to be the one moving along,
Right.
not you
Not the gift
checking off
officer.
boxes of cultivate. Oh, there now it's been 6 months now. I can try
Right.
text and
I mean,
ask.
I think if I could blow up anything, it's probably going to light up LinkedIn. But if I could blow up anything, it would be the donor cycle. And
Oh,
yeah, because it's sort of false in a way.
let's blow up the donor cycle. I love it. And
Yeah,
the
it's
careful.
just, yeah. Donors are already donors when they enter the cycle. So, I mean, you're not, I've heard so many gift officers and through my consulting career say some of the dangest things about, like, where they're waiting for the capacity to mature.
Waiting for the capacity to
I don't
mature.
even know what they were talking about. And so it was just all I could do not to just my mouth fell open. Anyway, and so they just so all these things that are sort of like not relevant to what it is that we need to be doing. I mean,
Not
it
relevant.
just
You nailed it because the metrics are not relevant to the goal. Yes,
right,
you have donor visits, but you have quality donor visits. So I tell you what,
right,
let's wrap up and talk
yes,
about right metrics that really matter, that
mhm,
will make everybody feel a better morale, close more gifts, make your leadership satisfied.
mhm,
And I would say it's the quality of the conversations, not the quantity.
absolutely.
Think about
It is
that.
the quality.
So that's one.
Mhm,
And the number of donors moving forward in the relationship cycle, what are they discovery,
mhm,
qualification? You've got to be able to measure the movement of the donor. And then, it's interesting to consider the level of the donor excitement or interest. Are they leaning in? Are they asking questions? Are they getting
mhm.
excited? I think we need to have a donor meter. you know,
Right.
are we
But
all
that,
over them? Are they
right.
hot to trot or are they ice cold? Everybody, we can figure this out. This is not complicated to figure out
No.
how interested or excited your donor is.
Well, it's just really about asking the right questions, which is, of course,
Yeah.
what we coach on, because you really, it's not so much is the donor, like, how do you tell as a donor, there is a way, but how do you tell when you're finished cultivating? I mean, this is why the whole donor cycle thing just don't even wind me up, because you could have one visit with a donor and ask a very key question. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. We'll talk about it when you join the class. But um, but there's some key questions that you can ask very easily that will tell you exactly when the donor's ready.
That's right.
It will
That's
tell
right.
you. So you don't have to have some kind of protracted cultivation, some long period of time where you're doing all whatever you're doing, because that's making it about you and your organization. You want
Mhm,
it to be about the donor. I
mhm.
will share this. Well, there is one thing I put in my little slide about the number one rule. Number
Yeah,
one rule in major gift fundraising is everything is about the donor. Everything.
everything is about the donor, not about me, not
Mhm.
about, yeah, yeah. So we need to wrap up because we've been
Yeah,
going on. So much fun
I
to
know. I
talk.
get so passionate about this.
We're pretty passionate. But everybody, so if you set goals around the movement of the donor, not activity quotas, and maybe you're asking your team, what donors have you deepened relationships with this month? So that might be a key indicator right there. And your team has got to have training and coaching so they have the skills to engage donors meaningfully, which is why we think you should sign up for the Major Gift Boot Camp so you will have the sophisticated professional skill set you need, both soft skills and hard skills to be able to ask and close a gift, and also how to be with high net worth donors, which can be a delicate dance, tap dance, right? So
Right.
Catherine, you want to sum up with any comment? Want to call to action, wrap up?
Well, I do think, one is it is really kind of a golden period for major gift fundraising. Actually, I think we've been saying that for a little bit of time. And so it's really important if you're not in the space to get into it if you can. And I think also it's not as daunting or challenging as it maybe seems. So don't read the old books on moves management, I might suggest.
Yeah,
Because we've got so many tools at our disposal today, and we are can be far more sophisticated and effective with the right conversations, which are really critically important, and do work. I mean, I'm always amazed when clients we have try something that we recommend and call me or call Gail or one of our consultants and say, "Wow, that really worked. You're not going to believe what happened."
that's right.
Um, so that's the way I would sum this up.
Everybody, we hope you have a great Wednesday. And just remember, it's not about more meetings, it's about having the right meetings. And how about this for a takeaway? Suggest the numbers that will support your work. Do the numbers or they will be done to you. I've heard that many times.
Totally.
Suggest the numbers that will be supportive, or you're
Mhm.
going to get stuck meeting numbers that may not be effective or helpful. And
100%.
don't forget to check out the Major Gift Officer Boot Camp. We'd love to work with you, and you can learn the professional skills you need to close more major gifts and support your nonprofit. Right,
Great.
Catherine?
Yes, absolutely.